Series in Silliness Bodybuilding. I will be doing something new at least once a week. The history of bodybuilding. I am going to be talking about bodybuilders of yesteryear. What better way to start off this episode by doing the 5 greatest bodybuilders of all time? Now, what I would like for you to do is, since this is just my opinion, and the only real credential is you've had to at least win an Olympia, because that puts you in that elite league of great bodybuilders, is put your own opinions in the comment section. I'd like to know what you think about my list, if you change anything, if I forgot anybody, if there's any info, anything at all. So please, I would love to hear your comments. Believe me, I read them all, and I really, really appreciate them all. But without further ado, we're going to start with number 5, go all the way up to number 1, and then there are a few honorary mentions. Number 5, Dorian Yates. Dorian Yates was a UK bodybuilder, 6-time Mr. Olympia from 1992 to 1997. He was 5'9". His contest weight was 260, and his offseason was 290. Dorian Yates was the first true mass monster. He was the first guy to come out on stage, and people's reaction is, oh my God, what is that thing? The reason why I have him in number 5 and not any higher is because his career was shortened a bit because of a lot of injuries. He could have probably maybe did a few more, but he used to train so hard that it actually worked against him. The other reason is he wasn't the greatest ambassador for the sport. He was very quiet. He liked training by himself in a small gym called Temple Gym in the UK. He would win the Olympia. He would go back to the UK. He would maybe take some photo shoots after or before when he was in the States competing for the Olympia, and that would have been about it. Nobody even knew how he worked out until he came out with the documentary Blood and Guts, which is a tremendous documentary. It's great to get you excited to go to the gym if you ever watch it. So he is number 5. Number 4, I have Phil Heath, 7-time Mr. Olympia, 5'9", contest weight 240, off-season 270. He was Mr. Olympia from 2011 to 2017. This guy came out, and not only was he symmetrically sound, balanced, shape, but literally his conditioning was on point every contest. In my opinion, he had the greatest rear double bicep pose of all time. His back was not only thick, his lats came all the way down to his waist, but it was crisp conditioning, glutes, hamstrings, shoulders, biceps, even his forearms, all the way down to his calves were actually chiseled. But I have him at number 4 because the next 3 guys, I don't think anybody could beat. The next one, number 3, the great Lee Haney, who does not get enough praise, in my opinion. Lee Haney was 8-time Mr. Olympia. He stood at 5'11", contest weight is 255. His offseason was 265. He was Mr. Olympia from 1984 to 1991. He was literally the description of symmetrical. The man was, for that time period, symmetrically perfect. His waist was small. He had a tremendous V taper. He had these wide shoulders. And it was just something we've really never seen before. He had tremendous legs, and even his real lat spread was next to none. He was a tremendous bodybuilder, great ambassador of the sport, well-spoken human being, and still to this day is a great ambassador for the sport. He comes in at number 3. But number 2 I have, and some of you might argue this, is Arnold Schwarzenegger, 7-time Mr. Olympia, 1970 to 1975, and then 1980. Very controversial win in 1980. A lot of people thought he shouldn't have won that. Came out of retirement, and him and Joe Weider decided, we're going to make this happen. Very controversial win. Go back and watch the footage. You'll see what I mean. He stood at 6'2". Contest weight was 235. His off-season weight was 260. The reason I have him at number 2 was nobody was a greater ambassador of the sport. He literally became a household name after the documentary Pumping Iron came out. He put bodybuilding on the map. Not one person has ever done so much for bodybuilding as Arnold Schwarzenegger has. He continues to have Arnold Schwarzenegger Arnold Classics around the globe. Obviously, the biggest one every year in Columbus, Ohio. It is one of the greatest bodybuilding contests there is. If you win that, you are an elite bodybuilder, and great champions come from that. We just saw Cedric McMillan, but Cedric McMillan, rest in peace, did win that one. We just saw Samson Dowda win it. We've seen guys like Kevin Levrone win it and Flex Wheeler. But he is not number one. The number one bodybuilder of all time, in my opinion, is none other than Ronnie Coleman, 8-time Mr. Olympia. His contest weight was 287 to 300. His offseason was 315 to 320. And he stood at 5'11". He was Mr. Olympia from 1998 to 2005. His career span was 1990 to 2007. The reason why I have him at number one is because genetically he was the freakiest bodybuilder, and he literally came right after Dorian Yates. And it was almost like Dorian Yates was like the mass monster of the time. And then Ronnie Coleman said, "Oh yeah, hold my beer," and then showed up on stage. And I think it was 2003, Mr. Olympia, he showed up and was just, I think he was 300 pounds on stage, I believe he was 300 pounds on stage, and was the freakiest bodybuilder anybody has ever seen, and anybody has ever seen since. I truly believe that Ronnie Coleman would have been Mr. Olympia in any era, including now. Everybody knows his story about how he's had several back operations, and the man is extremely humble. When you speak to him, he doesn't regret anything. He used to train so hard, and he was the quintessential genetic freak that put together hard work and made it all happen. And he's also helped a tremendous amount of bodybuilders, and also helped Brian Dobson make Metroflex Gym literally the mecca of gyms in Texas. And now Brian Dobson could actually have his gym franchised if you're interested, and you could have it in any location in the country. And this was all because of Ronnie Coleman. If Ronnie Coleman did not step foot in that gym, Brian Dobson would not be able to do that. But that being said, when you look at him and you look at his conditioning and his size and his shape, nobody compares, not even a bodybuilder today. He is what I consider the Muhammad Ali of bodybuilding, the Babe Ruth of bodybuilding, the Michael Jordan of bodybuilding, the Tiger Woods of bodybuilding, the Arthur Ashe of bodybuilding. He is one in a lifetime. Now, we do have some honorable mentions. I have 3 honorable mentions. So the first honorable mention is none other than the Blade Dexter Jackson, 5'5", contest weight 216, off-season 230, was Mr. Olympia one time in 2008. But what makes him special, he has the most professional bodybuilding titles ever, 29 professional wins. And he also has the most Arnold Classic wins, 5 times, 2005, 2006, 2008, 2013, 2015. His career spanned 28 years, 1992 to 2020. As a professional bodybuilder, I don't think anybody is going to be able to come close with that many professional wins. Not only does he have that many professional wins and has so many Arnold Classic titles and has that Sandow, but he also is a very small bodybuilder, and he was able to take down huge men like Jay Cutler. Speaking of Jay Cutler, he is my next honorable mention. Jay Cutler, 4-time Mr. Olympia, 2006, 2007, 2009, 2010. He has the most runner-up spots in the Olympia ever, 6 times. What makes Jay Cutler so special is not only his on-stage presence, but off-stage. Other than Arnold Schwarzenegger, nobody has done more for bodybuilding than Jay Cutler. This man travels, still does, and still promotes the sport like he is still Mr. Olympia. He puts a tremendous amount of work in promoting the sport, meeting fans, being a likable human being, and also helping. I met Jay Cutler at the 2022 New York Pro, asked him to come on my podcast, and everybody knows I do not have a big podcast. It's a very small bodybuilding podcast, And he actually said yes, gave me his cell number, and I was able to get him, and his interview is on this channel. I will put the link in the description so everybody could watch it. Another thing about Jay Cutler is he is tremendously business savvy. He uses his name as a brand. Besides bodybuilding and bodybuilding ventures he goes into, he took the majority of his winnings from bodybuilding shows and invested it in real estate, the majority of which is in Las Vegas. He started off investing in real estate, and now he has commercial real estate, and he is a tremendously successful and financially successful bodybuilder. He's a self-made millionaire, and he did it with being four-time Mr. Olympia and using this as a tool to be able to open up doors for himself and make tremendous amounts of money. And he also helps a tremendous amount of people. He has his own podcast, actually, which is a tremendous podcast. I believe it's called Cutler Cast. If I'm not wrong, if I'm wrong, please leave a description at the bottom, a comment in the description area at the bottom. I'm sorry. But my last honorary mention is going to be very, very, very controversial. But I believe you can't leave this person out of, yes, I had to write it down. I wrote all them down. I thought about this. I believe you cannot leave this person out of the conversation for greatest bodybuilder ever, because nobody has ever done what she has done. That's right. Another honorary mention goes to Iris Kyle. Iris Kyle has 17 professional bodybuilding titles, more than any other woman bodybuilder ever. She has 10 Miss Olympia wins. That is more than any woman. That is more than any man bodybuilder. She has 9 consecutive Miss Olympia wins. That is more than any woman. That is more than any man. Her contest weight was anywhere between 130 and 167 pounds. She was 5'7". On her off season, she was anywhere from 175 pounds to 180. She is now a gym owner in Las Vegas. And that is my list for 5 greatest bodybuilders of all time with 3 honorary mentions. Please leave a comment in the description area and let me know what you guys think. Please like and subscribe and share. And I will be back with other content that you guys are going to love. So let me know what you think. Have a good evening, gentlemen and ladies. Later.